All the gun laws we got in place didn't prevent it, did it? Neither will any new ones.
Hello and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News, your twice-weekly dose of the finest two-way propaganda. Today, let's start off with Sheriff Chad McBaseface unloading both barrels on this news bot. Sheriff Billy Woods and his department had been working a difficult case involving a triple homicide and burglary where it appears 3 Utes turned on their accomplices and schwacked them, leaving bodies in 2 separate locations, one in the trunk of a car. It's the kind of thing that really seems like it's almost custom made for middle-aged moms to listen to over a glass or 5 of wine. The case developed over the course of several days, and the sheriff was clearly worn pretty thin by the time this news conference happened. Then one of the control freak enthusiasts in the press corps asked where the gun came from, looking to score some points, and Sheriff Billy Woods had just had enough and dropped some truth.
Sheriff, you mentioned the gun. Do we know how the suspect got a hold of the weapon?
Car burglaries.
Car burglaries. Yeah. Ain't that right? All the gun laws we got in place didn't prevent it, did it? Neither will any new ones. Because here's the fact. The bad guy's going to get a gun no matter what law you have put in place. These juveniles shouldn't even possess a handgun. But they did.
Woods is up for re-election next year, by the way. Maybe he deserves a little campaign donation? But it would be impossible for us to produce quality 2A propaganda without sponsors. So, let's pay some of our own bills. Today's video is sponsored by TNVC.com, your source for fine artisanal night vision with notes of chicory and leather, patiently brewed by the Amish in the old world style. Despite decades of criticism, the New York Police Department obstinately clings to its unconstitutional and blatantly racist stop and frisk policy.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
In fact, they've almost literally doubled down on their unreasonable searches and seizures. Last year, the NYPD made 61% more pedestrian stops than the year before. That's a 7-year record high, by the way. 90% of the people subject to those unreasonable searches were minorities, and they were released without so much as even a ticket 2 out of 3 times, which is a complicated way of saying the cops had no cause whatsoever to violate their rights. And that's only if you trust the NYPD's own self-reporting, but a 2022 audit found the NYPD was severely underreporting these kind of stops. So, what does this have to do with gun rights, though? Many of these searches are conducted under the pretext that the officer saw a bulge, which could have been a gun, which might be illegal for that person to carry. You know, if they didn't have a permit. Look, just because I could hide something illegal in my trunk doesn't mean you get to pull over and search every single vehicle with a trunk just to find out.
Oh my goodness! What are you doing? I've never seen so many dead hookers in all my life!
Police in authoritarian places are always looking for ways to make their job easier, but the problem is their job as they see it is putting people in cages. Supporters of unreasonable search and seizure claim it's a consent search because the victims could just refuse and walk away. But when an armed agent of the state is threatening you with violence, you do what you're told, unless you want to have a go at a hydraulic failure. It's the same story in DC, of course, but a federal judge has allowed a lawsuit to proceed against the district. Government lawyers had moved to dismiss outright, but the judge found the plaintiffs had adequately alleged the policymakers either knew or should have known the GRU's unconstitutional stop and frisk practices. 4 plaintiffs all allege essentially the same pattern of manufactured probable cause, but what happened to David Burns is probably the most appalling example. He was smoking a cigarette in a parked car with his girlfriend when 3 cars rolled up and a half-dozen cops jumped out pointing guns and issuing conflicting orders. Then they cited the confusion and distress they had inflicted as the reason for their probable cause to search him. Of course, the charges against Burns and the other plaintiffs in this case were dismissed because the searches were plainly illegal. But one of them spent 119 days in jail before the charges against him were dropped. This case isn't about whether these men were done wrong, though. It's about the fact the DC Police Department officially sanctioned the stop and frisk policy of the Gun Recovery Unit. What do you think? Have I got it all wrong? Do you trust cops to search only the bad guys? Why would a Florida woman get away with no prison time and a clean record after getting dead-ass caught with 24 pipe bombs and a kill list? Because she's nuttier than squirrel shit, that's why.
They call me Huntress.
Michelle Colts was living with her parents when they found the bombs in her bedroom and called the 5-0.
So I ran inside and called the 5-0.
Cops found a bunch of BB guns and ninja weapons and books and DVDs about bomb terrorism. Basically, a strip mall knife shop fell out of her bedroom. The court determined she is literally schizophrenic and not competent to stand trial. She isn't just getting off. She will be transferred to an inpatient treatment facility, and if she works through her treatment and medication and keeps her record clean for 15 years, she will be able to avoid criminal charges. I do think I have a right to own pipe bombs myself, but I'm also glad this nutter didn't blow anyone up and that she's getting the help she needs. I really dig her comic book style, though. I mean, she took the care to secure her bombs inside like cool black diamond plate boxes, like a proper villain or anti-hero or whatever. The sheriff of Camden County, Missouri, the treasurer, the county attorney, and 3 commissioners all signed a letter telling the ATF to kick rocks. Why? Because gun control, that's why. I ain't gonna have no Fed boys coming through the county, roughing people up and asking for zoning info. Presiding County Commissioner Ike Skelton said any and all federal firearm laws, so-called laws in my opinion, and many others' opinion, are unconstitutional. Camden County passed a law, maybe the first law or something, I don't know, he doesn't know, but it's a good one because it keeps those lousy Fed boys out. Not that anyone cares why the ATF were trying to spy on Camden County residents by asking about zoning stuff. But they claim is so they could issue FFLs for 2 applicants in the county who wanted to open gun stores. Wait, so these chest-beating blowhards are refusing to hand over the info the ATF wants so they can issue a license? I mean, yeah, all gun control is unconstitutional, and we shouldn't need the Crown's permission to sell guns. Yes, yeah, I get you. But you guys are being a real C-3PO right now.
Very nice.
I've isolated the reverse power flux coupling.
What do you guys think? I mean, I'm not trying to simp for F-Troop, but are there maybe some things we probably ought to cooperate with them on? And now, for your moment of zen.
9mm bullet blows the lung out of the body.
I came like a wrecking ball. I'll never hit so hard in love. All I wanted was to break the walls.
Hey friends, do you like pews and other pew-related things? Do you want to help us keep delivering you pure, uncut American pew propaganda at the low, low price of free fitting? We literally couldn't pay the bills without our sponsors, so do us a solid and get yourself something nice from them. You deserve it. I love you. Your membrane will be soft and smooth, your heart will be mine. It puts the lotion in the basket.